Good afternoon, everyone. It is the 28th of April here in Seminole County Emergency Operations Center. My name is Alan Harris. I am the emergency manager here, and of course we are here to give you an update on things that are going on in the county so that I hope that we'll be able to provide you some great information today. We're really excited about what's been going on around the community over the last 2 weeks, having the drive-in site at the Seminole Town Center Mall and also at the Altamont Mall now, and the site at the pop-up sites that we're being able to do in the lower income underserved communities. Today we're in Georgetown doing that pop-up site. It's at the Sanford Historic Stadium. So we're real excited about providing the test there with our partner True Health, a nonprofit organization that's providing that service to us there at the stadium. So far, we've tested nearly 1,100 individuals at the pop-up site, so we're real excited about that. And then tomorrow we'll be going to Jamestown. We'll be doing testing at the Baptist Church there in Jamestown. And then the following day, on Thursday, we'll be going to Lincoln Heights. And then next week, we're looking at a couple other sites. Those are still being planned right now. Our site in Altamont Springs is doing incredible. We were able to add a couple additional testing reservations, so you can still make some reservations. Some reservations are still available at the Altamont Mall site. Advent Health, of course, is continuing at the Seminole Town Center Mall. I'm sorry that we're having some technical difficulties with our camera here. It looks like it's moving around a little bit, but sorry about that. We did have a little bit of an issue when we logged on. Facebook has a new design of how they do the live thing, so we tried to get back to the old design. We couldn't do it, so here we are. But if the camera is fidgeting a little bit, I'm sorry about that. Again, the Advent Health site at Seminole Town Center Mall, is by appointment only, and so far they've served over 1,400 clients at that facility. The Allied site, again at Altamont Mall, is doing an incredible amount of work. They are expected to do 1,500 clients. We've asked Allied Health to continue to provide service here to Seminole County, and they have expressed interest in doing that. So we are looking at extending them another week. So we'll have that information for you tomorrow. But we are looking at extending it another week there at Altamont Mall. Clearly, there was a need for testing in Altamont Springs, as the reservations have started to book up. And then, of course, we added a couple additional ones. There are, of course, other locations that you can get tested. You, of course, can still go to each of the ERs. Certainly, if you have symptoms, please let them know prior to going to one of the ERs, whether that's at the hospital or the standalone emergency room. And you can also go to the urgent care centers. The urgent care centers that are doing testing are CentraCare, CareSpot, First Choice Urgent Care of Oviedo, True Health. Three True Health locations, the one in Castleberry, the one at the Department of Health, and the one at Sanford are all open, as well as the Urgent Care of Longwood. So far today, we have done 213 tests at the stadium. So again, thanks to our nonprofit friends at True Health, just doing an incredible amount of work out there for that community. So we're really excited to be able to provide some tests to that segment of our community. Some of those people are transportation disadvantaged, so hopefully they can just get over to the stadium and get some tests. There have been a lot of questions about antibody testing, so I want to talk a little bit about antibody testing. Antibody testing is available here in the county. You can go to Urgent Care of Longwood, Urgent Care of Longwood. You can go to Sacowi, that's SACOWI, Medical Center. You'll need to make an appointment. Or Stages of Life Medical Institute in Longwood. LabCorp and Quest has also notified us that they are starting to do antibody testing. You will need a prescription, so just call your primary physician's office, get a prescription, and then you can go to one of those facilities, whichever one is for you. We also have been informed about an online service. I hesitate to say it because I don't know much about it, but we did get this information from another government agency, and that's healthlabs.com. Again, I don't know much about it, but I know a lot of people are wanting some antibody testing, so that may be something you want to research. But it's best probably to go to your primary physician, go to LabCorp or Quest. Laverne asks, hey Laverne, how are you? Asks that she tested 7 days ago at East Altamont, is still awaiting results. It should be, we're starting to hear that all those results are starting to come back now. So you should hear within the next couple days your results. We know that it normally takes about 48 hours to a week. It looks like you're at that week point, so you should be getting those test results back. The positive tests are being called immediately. The negative tests, sometimes it takes them a little bit longer to give you a call, so that may be why, but they should be giving you a call within the next couple of days. Hey Madeline, how are you? Madeline asks, why are asymptomatic people being tested? It's a great question. So we need good data, and that's why we decided that we would open up testing to anyone that wants a test. Remember before, you almost couldn't get a test. I mean, you had to be very sick, and there was very limited quantities of tests. We have been able to secure testing from private institutions, so we purchased them ourselves, and then been able to provide that to True Health. We've also gotten a couple shipments, received 2 shipments from the state of Florida and the federal government with some test kits as well. So now we have the availability for testing, so we can start to get people tested, and we can see really what's going on out in the community. Why is that important to know who's asymptomatic? Well, those are the individuals that are feeling well, but they are carrying the virus and could spread to our most vulnerable populations. So we want to know if those people are sick, so that they can take the appropriate measures to not spread the virus. The whole purpose of this, of course, is to slow the virus down, get us back to our normal lives as best we can. So that's why we're doing a lot of testing. That's why we're trying to do what we can to get back to normal, to whatever that new normal is going to be. Raphael asks, I'm a barber. When can I go back to work? Very soon. The governor is the executive order for the governor is what limited hair salons, nail salons, things like that. Seminole County is ready. We have been meeting, our group has been meeting quite frequently to make sure that as soon as the governor's executive order is released, that we are ready to reopen Seminole County safely. How are we going to do that? Well, each business is going to be slightly different, right? Chairman Zimbauer said it perfectly yesterday. Each business is going to have to make their own decisions. There are going to be some, the social distancing, things like that. That's been a common practice, and in Seminole County, that was a common requirement for the last month and a half now. And that'll still be, there. That's still a recommendation from CDC. That's still a recommendation from the World Health Organization, from the White House medical staff. So that will still be a recommendation. So, Raphael, I hope that you will be back in business very, very soon, safely. And that may include, clearly wearing a face mask. Pretty much wherever you go right now, if you are interacting with people. I went by Starbucks this morning and every single one of them had a face mask on. It would be advisable, obviously, when you reopen to wear a face mask, and when appropriate, the client as well, because you're in very, very close proximity, and we know how this virus spreads. We want you to be safe, and we want your client to be safe as well. Judy asks, when will we be in phase 1? Will it be on May 1st on Monday? So there are a couple different executive orders that the state signed, the governor signed. So some of them expire on May the 1st, and some of them expire on the 8th. the closures of alcohol bars, pubs, and gyms, though that will open up on the 8th. So that expires on the 8th. And that's again if the governor doesn't do anything. The governor may do something way before the 8th, and the governor may do something before Thursday. The executive order from the governor on non-essential businesses. Again, I want to remind everybody, Seminole County never said anything about a non-essential business. We don't believe there's such a thing as a non-essential business. All of our businesses are important to us here in Seminole County. Well, the only thing Seminole County ever required was social distancing. So that's the markings on the floor, which we were the first county to have markings on the floor. We know our neighboring counties, many of the stores, same brand of store, didn't have markings on their floor. We did here in Seminole County. So that's a different, that was the only thing Seminole County required. And the state of Florida said there was the non-essential businesses and essential businesses, and non-essential businesses were closed. So non-essential businesses, that executive order expires on Thursday. Those businesses could reopen on Friday. Misty asks, how many have recovered? So that's not the terminology they're using. They're using completed, and unfortunately that number I do not have right now. The Florida Department of Health has that. There is a Florida Department of Health website with a great dashboard. We also did launch a dashboard, so I hope that's been helpful for some folks. If you go to the Prepare Seminole website, you can go to the dashboard at the top of the screen, and you can look at our dashboard. It's got the total number of patients. It's got the total number of individuals that are in hospitals here in Seminole County. So why is that important to us? In emergency management, why it's important is we want to know what the percentage of availability for hospitals are. Because when we look at the amount of patients we have, we want to see what the impact is to the healthcare system. Not the number of patients for 450,000 people. It's the number of individuals for the healthcare system, because other people have issues, strokes, heart attacks, cancer, things like that. So we're looking at that. We're looking at the number of individuals in the hospital system. What we have seen over the last couple weeks now is a flattening of the curve, a downward trend. Yesterday we had one of the trauma surgeons from HCA, Hospital Corporation of America, Central Florida Regional Hospital, come over, and he was part of our press conference, and he is seeing the flattening of the curve. Donna Walsh with the health department is seeing the flattening of the curve. So what does that mean? That means these social distancing orders of social distancing recommendations from the CDC, from the World Health Organization, they're working. And we want to continue that even as businesses open. We want to continue to make sure that everybody is safe. Rita asks, are ALS and their staff being tested? Yes. So we have 2 teams here in Seminole County from the state and from ACA, the American Healthcare Administration, as well as the National Guard, and they are out right now. They're doing some testing out in the facilities. They're also doing some PPE training, personal protective equipment training, with the nurses and the doctors and the workers there to make sure that there is no major spread in those facilities. We are also provide personal protective equipment to those, and we provided tens of thousands of masks, gowns, booties, eye protection, things like that for those workers, and we are continuing to do that as there's a need out in the assisted living facilities and nursing homes. We're continuing to do that. Janet asked, when will antibody tests be available? Now. They're available right now. Go to your primary physician, get that prescription, go to LabCorp request. Nadine asks, can you show up at CentraCare for a test? Yeah, if you're if you're looking for the antibody test, it's only the urgent care of Longwood or those other medical plazas that I had. If you missed that during the live, just when we put it up, you can go to the very beginning, and it'll have the list of all the antibody testing. If you just want to go get a test, the best way to go get a test is one of the drive-up sites, unless you're symptomatic. If you're symptomatic, then we would want you to call ahead again to CentraCare, and you can go ahead and go over to CentraCare. Just let them know you're coming so that they can wear the appropriate personal protective equipment. Karen asked, are you extending the Altamont Mall beyond this week? Yes, Karen. So we've been in talks with Allied Health, which is our nonprofit partner that's helping us with that particular facility. They have agreed to stay on for another week. So we'll be adding those reservations. I'm looking at my public information folks. Probably tomorrow, maybe Thursday, we'll be adding all of those appointments. We just want to make sure that we coordinate that well with Allied Health to make sure that we're putting in the proper number of tickets and everything for each hour. So probably Wednesday, if not by the latest Thursday, we'll have those reservations for you so you can make a reservation to go. Will tests continue after businesses are open? Yeah, so we planned, so some businesses are going to reopen. Some businesses obviously are open right now. Then other businesses we anticipate will reopen this week, and we absolutely intend to continue testing scheduled for next week. So we intend to continue testing next week. So that won't be an issue at all. We're going to definitely continue testing as long as there's a need in our community. We want to make sure that we fill that need. So we're going to continue that testing. Denise asked, do you anticipate a bump or increase in positive cases when business is opening? Yes. I mean, that's every single statistic we've looked at, every doctor we've spoken to, they have said that there will be a bump. What is the level of that bump? Well, that's dependent on how much people adhere to the social distancing guidelines that are set by the CDC, by medical doctors, by the World Health Organization. So if we go back to the exact way it was and people get in large groups together and they don't wear masks, they don't wear any face shields, then yes, there will be a spread of the virus. If we continue with our social distancing protocols that we're doing right now, our social distancing guidelines, if we're following those, hopefully the bump won't be that much, and that's what we're really counting on, is that people will. We have a good community. We have a great community. For the most part, people are very respective of social distancing. In the grocery stores, I know there's some stores we've had some issues. Those stores have quickly been contacted and they have remedied the situation. But for the most part, most stores are adhering to it. Most stores have markings on the floor. We provided some markings on the floor for individuals. So, and I know a lot of businesses got those and put those on the floor, and we really appreciate that. That's got our website on it, so you can go to. It's just a reminder of where you can go to get some good information. But certainly, people doing, I think that will be okay. Tina asks, how can I get antibody testing without a primary care doctor? So in that case, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to call the urgent care of Longwood, make an appointment, and you can come in, and they do the finger prick test on that one. So they'll draw a little blood and they'll do the antibody testing right there at the urgent care of Longwood for those that don't have a primary physician. Pippi asks, what city has the highest number of positive cases? And I am looking over at the board, and it looks like it is Sanford. So, I mean, that's the highest population community, so that probably wasn't that. Right now, that's it looks like Sanford, then Altamont and Oviedo. So those are, of course, our largest communities. So that makes sense that would be obviously the unincorporated area is the largest number, and so the unincorporated area, you could live in Altamont Springs, but it'd be in the unincorporated area, right? So it is a little skewed. We did. We have not been putting out a lot of city information because a lot of our cities are very holy. They have holes inside of them where there's county pockets inside of the city limits. So you may live with a city address to your home, but you live in the county. So the unincorporated area certainly has more than anything else. So another question about, can hair salons and nail salons open Friday? Again, that is totally up to the governor of the state of Florida. Seminole County does not plan, does not have. I mean, we have plans, sorry, to allow those facilities to reopen quickly as possible once the governor releases his order. Stacy asked, what will the new guidelines be for birthday parties and social gatherings? recommendation is smaller groups, social distancing, things like that. As we see, this is going to be, as the governor has mentioned, the doctors have mentioned, this is going to be a slow process. So it's going to be a slow onset. So we need to continue these social distancing guidelines. We need to continue these practices because they're working. As things get better, as the numbers continue to get better, then maybe we can have bigger groups and bigger gatherings and things like that. But at this point, smaller gatherings, 10 or less, is the best. The really cool thing, I'm sure you've seen this, just like I have, and I talk about it here in the EOC every once in a while. And the innovative ways people have been celebrating events. Parades in front of people's houses during their birthday parties, people celebrating milestones in their anniversaries and things like that. Friends getting together and making signs. We saw some pictures of an individual at one homeowners association that went around to people's houses and said, your house has been toilet papered, and it had a little box of a couple things of toilet paper, all plastic wrapped, and it was just a present from a neighbor for the people on the street because at that particular time it was hard to get toilet paper. Just cool things, and I know you've seen them too. In fact, maybe we even do a social media on the innovative ways people are getting together. I've heard of happy hour Zoom parties where friends are getting together on Zoom and having happy hour. That's obviously not the way we want it to get back to normal, but how cool are some of these different ways people are having events. A friend of mine is having a pizza party soon because of an anniversary he's got, and we're all going to buy our own pizzas and we're going to be sitting at the house doing Zoom. So just really cool, innovative ways people have been dealing with this, very, very horrific situation. But we found ways to deal with it, right? So Liz asked, what businesses will open this week? And Liz, that's a great question, and that again is up to the governor of the state of Florida. Unfortunately, I don't have the information. I will tell you and promise to each and every one of you. There's 2 teams here that are constantly meeting. That team is made up of the medical director, the health officer for the Florida Department of Health, the fire chief, the chairman of the board of county commissioners, the county attorney. All of our city managers sit on this task force. We all meet together and we discuss these things before any order is written, any order is signed. We all get together to discuss these to make sure that we're all on the same page. I know there's been some things out there that one person can sign, one person has to sign, but we as a group come up with these things. So I know there's a lot of fake news, misinformation on that, but we've been getting together. We've gotten together 3 or 4 times already. We continue to get together, and as soon as the governor lifts his executive orders, we are ready. The city managers and myself and the county manager all met again yesterday with the attorney and all the medical doctors to make sure that we are ready to help Seminole County businesses reopen, get back to business. Alan asked about, I've heard that antibody tests aren't accurate. So yeah, you need to do some research on it, right? So there is some information out there. This is a new virus, so we are learning new things, right? But if you want to get an antibody test, you can go get an antibody test. But there is some information that the percentage keeps changing. But I've read reports where it's 60% accurate. I've read reports where it's 80% accurate. So it's a new virus. We're still learning things. Anna asked, is there a cost for testing? And will there be a cost for testing once the business opens? No, there's no cost for the testing at any of our drive-up sites. Just bring your medical insurance because these are nonprofit organizations and they like to recoup the costs. But if you do not have medical insurance, do not be afraid. Continue to come to the test. We want you to get tested. You do need to make a reservation again at the Altamont Mall and the Seminole Town Center Mall. At the pop-up sites, you do not. Ada asked, when will gyms open? That's another good question. Again, that's for the governor. His executive order for gyms was 20-71. That is supposed to rescind on the 8th, but I don't know if he's going to extend that or keep that going. So I'm not really sure at this point. Lynn asks, can families get together in groups of smaller than 5? Absolutely. I hope you all have a great event, whatever that is, a barbecue or whatever. 10 or less is what CDC recommends. Denise asks, are plans in place to mitigate large gatherings when businesses open? Yeah, we've done the 30%. We've done that since day one. Some businesses, many businesses have actually said, yeah, 30% nice. We're going to do 25. We're going to do 20. But in Seminole County, we've been encouraged 30% occupancy at the businesses. Andy asks, does county want asymptomatic people tested? Sure. It's open now for anyone. So anyone can get a test. If you want to get a test, you can come get a test. Christina asks, will churches reopen? Churches have never closed. I understand what you mean, though. You mean, can churches hold in-service events? Again, that's going to be a governor's decision. We did limit that here in the county. There, again, innovative ways of doing services. People have done drive-up church, online services, smaller group services, things like that. We anticipate that churches, once the executive orders, again, of the governor are rescinded, that churches will reopen to some level. Again, there will be strict social distancing guidelines, maybe a percentage of occupancy for that. So again, that's what our team has been meeting about, discussing. Medical doctors on the team providing some good data so that we make the right decision. Oh, I'm over. I'm sorry. We're only supposed to go to 12:25, and it is 12:28. I am going to go now. Our website, prepareseminole.org. Our telephone number, 407-665-0000. Seminole County Public Schools Facebook Live is next. You have 2 minutes to get over there. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to go over. Hope you all have a wonderful week, and we will see you on Friday. Take care.